We all live in systems and belong to several systems at the same time. Your family is a system, a school class is a system, a project team is a system. Your youth organisation is also a system. All smaller systems are part of larger ones, like your local community, the field of youth work in your country, or, even larger, the field of European youth work. Every system has elements, connections between them, and its own boundary. When these elements come together, the system develops certain properties that belong only to the system as a whole and cannot be reduced to the elements that constitute it. That is why we say the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. For example, the chemical formula for table sugar shows that it is made of carbon, oxygen, and hydrogen. However, the sweetness of sugar is not a characteristic of any of these elements. It belongs only to sugar as a whole. Similarly, living systems develop their own character, their own patterns of relationships and dynamics. For example, as a youth worker, you know how groups of young people can be different from individual young people that constitute them. What we experience as, for instance, a problematic dynamic is rather a pointer to a systemic need. We just need to know how to look. What we have learnt from phenomenological work, such as the one of Bert Hellinger, is that systems have several needs to be met in order to function in a healthy way. All systems want to be complete. Everything and everyone that belongs to a system needs to have its place in the system. Denying someone's place creates turbulences in the system's dynamics. For example, excluding a member of your team can create disruptive dynamics amongst the remaining team members. A system also needs to establish a good balance between giving and taking, between contributing to the system and getting your needs fulfilled. When this balance is established, the energy in the system flows freely and people are ready to give their best. When this balance is disturbed, it may lead to frictions, stuckness, and even burnouts. A system needs to be connected to its roots and to its destination. For example, a youth organisation needs to keep the memory of the founders and the initial idea why it was established in the first place, and, at the same time, having a clarity of where it is heading to. Reaching the destination can be a call for closing the organisation or for its transformation. A system also needs that everyone is in their own place, from which they can contribute the most. When some places in the system are not fully taken, this creates an unconscious trap for others in the system to step in somebody else's role. It is a commonly observed trap for NGOs to unconsciously take over the role of institutions that they see as not providing or incapable. In this situation, they should be asking themselves, whose role are we playing here? What should be the place from which we can contribute the most to the whole? By stepping into somebody else's role, are we strengthening or weakening the system as a whole? Are we helping or blocking the development of that element whose place we have taken? When everyone is in their place in their full capacity, the system stops wasting its energy on continuous negotiations and internal struggles, and can focus on its core purpose. For example, creating better opportunities for young people. To progress and strive, a system needs to remain open. Its boundaries should enable accepting new impulses and new developments from a wider context. The good news is that the capacity for self-improvement is inherent in each system. We just need to make sure that it is not blocked. A system that tries to keep the status quo in a fast-changing environment and that refuses to change will eventually dry out or make itself obsolete. A closed system declines and eventually dies. An open system develops and thrives. These external impulses might be changes in the world, such as the COVID-19 crisis, but also shifts in the wider professional field, for example, the changing role of youth work. A system can choose to ignore them or to let them in and welcome them as an invitation for change or transformation. It is the system itself, not the impulses, that decides how the change will happen.